Okay, this clip is the one I've chosen as the best example of how to teach someone how to bluff. In this video, it's more a case of showing you reasons why the bluff failed, rather than why it succeeded. So as you see here, I fire half the pot. This is quite standard for a heads-up play. You sort of try and steal it, and it's followed by a check as well. And then on the end, I think that he's got nothing, and I was right, but he had better nothing than me. And he just sort of picked up the tell that that was the case, and he takes down a nice 180k pot. So let's just think about why he knew I was bluffing, because that wasn't just a random call, that you can actually justify it. So we can start off by saying that I raised 8k before the flop, and I didn't re-raise him when he re-raised me. So therefore the possibility of things like pocket aces, pocket kings, any sort of high pockets, the possibility of that has just gone. The second tell is the fact that I raised the flop and checked the turn. Now, betting the flop, it's a very standard tactic, and if you fail, a lot of people tend to check. Of course, you've got to mix it up sometimes and do it on hits as well, but in this case, he took it as a tell that I'd missed. The third tell, you've got to have an appreciation for what's happened in the third game to recognise. But basically, there was a flush draw out there, and I bet out on the flop and checked on the turn. Now, we've had this situation a couple of times in the match, where we've been semi-bluffing each other quite a lot. Whenever someone had a flush draw, we've tended to fire two semi-bluffs at each other. So therefore, he's decided that because I've been firing twice on flush draws so often, that he didn't feel confident that I'd hit the flush on the river. The third one is that obviously if I had the queen, I probably would have checked on the river so I would have betted out on the turn, unless I was trying to sort of trap him. However, you can justify that as, why would the person trap you when there's a flush draw out there? So yet again, if I had a 6 or if I had a queen, anything like that, with a flush draw out there, there is no way I would have checked that turn. That was probably one of the other things that was going through his head. And the final thing is, on the river, a flush draw hits. So, but typically in this situation, the person either has all of it, or they have none of it. Because if you only have some of it, say I had a 9 or a queen, there's no incentive really for me to bet, because usually the only people that would call are the people that are better than me. And if I make him fold, well, I've not really gained anything. So therefore, the decision you have to make is, has he really made the full nuts? Like, has he hit the flush? Has he got a full house? Or is he completely bluffing his ass off, which is the case here? The final tell is the fact that I've bet 50,000 into an 80,000 pot. Now again, you need an appreciation of the full game to appreciate this, but that's a slightly uncharacteristically large bet for me. Because again, if you think about it, if I bet and I'm representing a hand, that means I've either got a flush or it means I've got a full house. Because if I had just a pair, or two pair in this case, I would just be checking. So therefore, 50k into 80k, it's not the sort of inviting bet to someone, and it would take quite a lot of guts to call. So therefore, you can sort of go down the logic of, this guy doesn't want me to call, so therefore he can't have the hand, so I'm going to call on my ace high. So you can see, if you just sit down and think about it, there's at least 6 or 7 tells. I mean, there's just so many in this hand. I mean, the fact that it's a continuation bet, the fact that I didn't re-raise rules out pockets, the fact that there's a flush draw and I'd been betting so much disallows that. The fact that I bet too much shows that I'm not interested in him calling. The fact that there's so many draws out on the board and I wouldn't want to slow play, so there's no way I'd have had a strong hit in the first place other than perhaps a full house. So I'm just going to go ahead and let you watch that again and just sort of think about all the tells that are basically in this hand.